Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the I Am Woman podcast. I am your lovely host, Taylor A. Williams, and we have a super talented guest today by the name of Sherie. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Sherie. Thank you for having me. I am glad to be here.
So. Yes, can't wait to dig into who you are. Of course, your EP, Yours Deeply. Yes. So, without further ado, before we get into things, I want to introduce you the proper way, if you don't mind.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes. So, Sherie is a Los Angeles-based, Atlanta-raised Haitian-American artist with an impressive set of talents beyond what meets the eye. From chart-breaking penmanship like Ariana Grande's Positions to opening for superstars like Alicia Keys with her violin mastery, Sherie is blending it all into her artistry to deliver an electric sound layered with angelic melodies. Her creative abilities know no bounds, taking you across a range of genres from R&B, soul, classic to alternative, pop, and urban. As an independent artist, currently, Sherie has reached over 1 million streams on singles alone and dropped her EP, Yours Deeply, on March 14th. Yes. So much packed with all of that. My goodness. I probably didn't even do it justice. So.
No, yes, you did. It's incredible.
Yeah, so would love to dive deep.
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So what does becoming mean to you right now? Not just as an artist, but as a woman in this moment in your life.
So what does becoming mean in this moment in my life? I would say that becoming has always been a thing that I have fought through because of things that I have been through in my past and feeling like I don't measure up or always battling the feeling of not being enough. So becoming has always, that word has always been, I would say, it has always been a thing of feeling like a almost or not yet or a something that I've always been seeking and looking at, like seeing glimpses of myself as this person who has become everything I believe I was called to be, and then kind of sitting in the background watching it and being like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be that, but then why am I here? Like, why am I looking at it as if I'm like, I'm not there yet, you know? I think it's just, and so a lot of times becoming gets, the battle of becoming is fought with comparison. It's fought with things that I feel that make me feel like I don't measure up. And sometimes that's things that I put on myself. Like I say all the time that I'm my biggest bully or my biggest critic, you know, and that I'm just my biggest hater, like my own biggest hater. And so
I think, that perfectionism, like, because I feel it too, like definitely, and I've kind of battled with that too, like feeling as though I'm not enough, or battling with that, it's the almost, or seeing your life kind of flash in front of you and seeing what it could be like and knowing you're on your way there, but you're not, whatever's stopping you to reach that point, it's like, what is the block? So I definitely get that. And I'm in that as well. So, but I think becoming that woman, like where you are in the present to the now, you know, present, past, future, it just all kind of like plays a role. So
absolutely. So
for sure. Okay, so you've done it all, as I stated before. Writing platinum records, touring with legends, mastering an instrument. But what part of your artistry makes you feel most like yourself?
I would say that the part of my artistry that makes me feel more like myself is the violin. I feel like that it's something about me that is really special, and something about me that I feel like is different in the sense of that it is a part of me. It's like my second voice. It's something that I present and when I perform, and it's another way of self-expression.
Yeah.
I picked up the violin when I was 10 years old, and I never put it back down. It's something that I feel that is very divine, because my parents did not play instruments. My family was in music. My dad was, he rapped. My mom was a singer.
Okay.
They both had regular jobs, but they also loved music as what they love to do also. So, but as far as playing an instrument, that was, I was the first to pick that up in my family.
I love it.
And so they were like, violin. So I was just very drawn to it, the way that it sang, and I wanted to make it sing too. I wanted to learn how to make it sing with my hands. And so I picked it up at 10, and I was like, I want to do this. And I'm just grateful that I never put it down, and allowed it to be a part of what I do as a singer that plays violin. And so I think that's a part of my artistry that I want to continue to dive into deeper and figure out that lane of being that artist musician, and being able to make it make sense for the world as well.
And you do make it sing, like it has its own voice. And it's funny because well, I don't know if they did this in your middle school, but in 6th grade they make us, of course, pick an instrument, and we had the option to pick viola or the violin, and I actually did a little bit of both. But so I love instruments, and so me kind of having that, a little bit of the background too, I kind of know a little bit where the start comes from when you're a young child, and then it develops. So I'm glad you stuck with it.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm sure you're teaching now too, kind of like kids.
I teach kids at just at a school after school program, and just I love seeing their growth, and I love seeing their excitement to play, and then also them seeing what I do, and they're like, I saw your video, Miss Sherie, and they're like so excited, and it's cool to just see the hope in their eyes, like, oh man, I can do this too. I can do music for a living, and this all pays off if I just continue to practice and learn. So it's great. It's great to get back.
It definitely makes a huge impression when you're young and seeing the person in front of you. So congrats to you. Okay, so growing up Haitian-American in Atlanta, how did those layered identities shape the way you hear and create music?
Well, I would say I am Haitian and Jamaican. My dad is Jamaican. Well, my dad is Jamaican, and my mom is Haitian. And I grew up more on the Haitian side of culture with my family, because I lived a lot with my mom, and my parents separated when I was young. But I would say that it definitely shaped me in music, just because the culture is so welcoming, it's so nurturing, it's so beautiful. It's like,
it is.
If you meet any Haitians, it's like you feel like they're your cousin, or you feel like
I have a few friends. You really
feel
do.
like they're your cousin. They're always there for you. It's just a part of our nature. It's a part of who we are, and I think my music translates in that way, just warm and welcoming. And I would also say that it's just inspiring and uplifting.
It is,
and I feel like that's what Haitian culture does. I mean, we were like the first independent country, the first to gain its independence. So I'm proud of that, and I'm proud that my family is a part of that, and also I love the music, compa. I love all it, and I actually have a song called Ale that I released that is that has the Haitian flair in it.
Ooh.
And so I have a video to that too, and I just love to remind people, just what part of culture I was raised in.
And I love it. It's like you're very proud and you wear it as a badge. I love that though. It's really nice. Okay, so violin, it often is seen as like a rigid and classical, yet you've made it soulful and free. Was there ever a moment you had to unlearn what you were taught to reclaim your own sound?
I would say that I never really had to unlearn anything. I think that me learning classical music and me studying in school, learning how to play technically, reading, and I think that all helped my artistry as a violinist and as an artist, because from me going into playing jazz and learning how to play soulful music, it started with my learning of technical
That's true.
playing and classical playing. And so it actually helped further me more with my just the skills in shifting or skills in like scales and arpeggios and things like that. That helped me to kind of figure out how I wanted to do my own solos and make it fun. And my parents actually, what they did do is my mom, she really loved this violinist named Ken Ford that's from Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta, by the way. And I literally, she fell in love because she went to his show, and he's just this violinist that's just so vibrant. He's playing Summertime, playing all these, amazing songs. And she was like, ooh, I want my daughter to play like that, you know? So she brought me to his show. Good. She brought me to his workshops, called Making the Violin Fun, and learning how to play jazz scales and learning how to improvise and hearing sounds and being able to just jump in and just like shed, and that was important to me because doing that is what helped me to learn how to do that and learn that you can be expressive that way through the violin. Right. Because in school, you're learning one way. You're learning how to read music, you're learning classical music, and you're, and you're thriving there. But then I would say that when I learned jazz music and funk and soul from playing with Ken Ford, I actually went under his wing, and he started to take me on shows with him as his protege.
I love that.
It was like back to back, and come on, like on the knee, we'd be on the knee. So he taught me showmanship with the violin, like going on one knee and playing it like as if you're playing a guitar solo, and being able to use the violin as a way to express that fire inside of you and passion. So he taught me that, and I'm grateful because he was like, yeah, come on, let's do these lessons and do these scales. And so it all translates. I would say that I more so broke out of the box of just playing classical, and I broke out of a box, and I was able to welcome every style and learn how to play fiddle music, learn how to play all different types of music that helped kind of bring together what I play now in my music and perform. So gosh.
And that makes you just so versatile, and just you're able to, whatever's thrown at you, you can just hear it, and then that's so amazing. So do you think like I guess for anybody that's out there that even wants to be where you are, do you think the technical piece of learning the basics and the classical and the scales, do you think that's important, or should they?
Yes, I believe that's very important. I believe that learning all the basics of reading, learning circle of fifths, learning all your skills, knowing where your fingers are going, that will help you to open your world up. When you hear music, it will open your world up to be like, oh, okay, I know what I can do now. It gives you more in your catalog of like what you can do,
Got it.
So yeah, I treat it the same way as vocals. Like once you practice your vocals, and once you know from just practicing scales in your voice and practicing like your range, you know what you can do, and you're not afraid to be like, oh, and just break out of it, People ask me like, how are you so unafraid to just hit those high notes or just go for it? And I'm like, it's from actually not singing good at home. It's from like practicing at home and like practicing and cracking at home, so that you can break through those barriers. So you can actually, when you're on stage, not be afraid, because you're like, oh, I worked through this already. So now I'm
it's coming at you like that. Wow, my gosh. Okay, so before we get into the next question, how did you know that you could sing?
Oh man.
Okay, she has a beautiful angelic voice, before we even just tap into this. But how did you discover that?
When I would say that I was about maybe, I think I was like 7 or
okay, so younger than when you started.
I started violin. I started violin at 10, and I was singing maybe like between 5, 6, 7, around that time. I remember a time where, of course, my mom was always singing in church, and so I always was around that. And
good.
And I remember when my cousins were like, "Wait, sing that again?" And like, whoa, and just had me just sing, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like it came natural to me, and I didn't realize that it was something that I had, that wasn't natural, wasn't normal for everyone. So since then, I just have always been cultivating that. I sang at every talent show at my schools. I sang at every, I literally was like looking forward to doing any type of showcase. And it's funny because in every showcase I would sing "If I Ain't Got You" by Alicia Keys.
Oh gosh, isn't that the classic go-to?
Classic go-to.
Oh,
and I would just be like ready to like go in. But like the thing was, and then full circle moment, she's a great friend of mine, just crazy to me.
Isn't that funny how life happens?
I was like, what? It just doesn't make any sense, but it's cool how God works like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now that we know you can sing, of course, your EP, Yours Deeply, which is amazing. I was so glad I got the pleasure of attending the release. I would say it feels like a love letter.
Yes.
So who were you writing to, if I may ask? And what part of your truth were you ready to finally say out loud?
Yeah, I would say Yours Deeply is definitely a love letter to myself and to others who relate to it. It's me narrating my struggle to love deeply after experiencing trauma, because I have went through different kinds of abuse, and it really affected me. It affected me and made me shrink, and it made me feel like I was invisible. It made me feel like just that I didn't have my own, grit, or have my own, confidence.
Right.
And it was kind of like identity. I was always asking for permission because I was in that certain relationship that had control, that because I was young, and if the person made me feel like they were in control of me, to where I felt like I couldn't do anything without their say so, or
validation.
or validation. And I always had to forgive that part of myself. So I believe that Yours Deeply is me singing through that part of myself and releasing that and being able to forgive myself through that, and also just be open about what happened, and also just be vulnerable about that. And it was always hard for me to talk about that because I just didn't know how. I know. Sometimes where to in start. Music, you don't really know how. Because when you write for other people, it's easier for me than writing for other artists and writing songs that don't connect to me. But then when it comes to connecting to myself, I'm like, ooh, it's like
looking inward,
it's like I shrink to myself, and so
inner monologue.
Yeah, and so when I wrote this project, I was very, very, I was really, really scared, because I was just like, oh, I don't know if people are gonna, who's gonna care? Like, for me, it was just like, are people gonna really care? And it's crazy that you think that, because you just don't know, you just don't know who's gonna care to listen, who's gonna be like, oh, I can relate to that, or I feel the same way. And so, you just feel like, you're opening this vulnerable part of yourself that you want to tell. And so, this EP is very special to me because I was working on it for 2 years and had certain singles here and there, but I didn't have the full project.
Right.
So I think finally that I'm very happy and proud of it, and have had many people that helped me with this project, and we knocked it out.
Yeah, really knocked it out, because I've been playing it back to back, you were saying, and also giving yourself grace.
Yes.
Because I think that's important when we kind of reflect, because I've gone through things as well, and I've been thinking similar thoughts, but giving yourself grace because you've never experienced that, or just you live and you learn, but definitely I think a love letter to that version of yourself, and then being able to be strong and grow.
Exactly.
So it's beautiful though. I have so many different favorites on it, but
thank you.
We'll keep going. But so I want to say there's a quiet power in your presence, even from when I was looking at you performing, and I would say you don't scream, but you're unforgettable.
Thank you.
I don't know if you've ever gotten that. I'm sure you have, but it's this softness you have. So I want to know, has your softness ever been misunderstood? And how have you learned to embrace that softness as strength?
I would say that I'm definitely still learning to embrace that as my strength. My soft girl, what is it called? Soft girl era.
Soft girl era, right.
I'm
We're in that
to
this
embrace
summer.
The soft girl era, okay, to all my soft girlies, okay?
Right.
I'm still learning how to embrace that. I would say that I have felt misunderstood because I felt like it was a weakness of mine. I felt like being soft was not a superpower. And a lot of times, if you don't understand that your weaknesses can be your superpower, you don't know how to use it. Right. And so sometimes I was taking that as being like, okay, well, I'm too passive. I'm not aggressive enough. And I don't have that Sasha Fierce mentality right now. And I don't think that I can even stand with other artists. And I felt like that it was not something that could be in the industry, I guess. Okay. So I would say that more so when you're asking about being misunderstood, I feel like I have misunderstood it. Does that make sense? Yeah. I feel like I have been more so in the place of not understanding my power in having a soft presence so I think more so it was that I didn't really understand it myself and took it as a negative thing and not as a positive thing. And I was in the place of, again, feeling like, okay, it's not going to work, but now I'm allowing it to become something that I sing from. Yeah. And allowing people to relate to that part and sing from that place and realize that in me there's a softness, but then there's also, I would say, a lion in in it as well. Right. Like there's like a thing where I'm starting off soft and I'm like, rah, here I am.
Literally, like when you hear it in the music, I'm like, there we go, I hear it.
Yeah, so it's like, and even with, I feel like in my violin playing, there's a lion and there's like, and then there's also it and in my voice there's a lion, but I mean there's a softness, but then after that it grows and it just becomes comfortable in the environment. So yeah, I think I'm just learning to understand it myself. Right. and learning to embrace it and being like, okay, it's okay to have that as a part of you and learning how to use it and when and the dynamics and contrast, because dynamics is good in life to be dynamic. Okay.
Look, that needs to be the first word in the bio. Dynamic.
Yes. That's a good idea. Ooh, I like that.
It is a very strong, powerful word. So yeah.
Thank you.
But so you had that support that kind of let you know, like, it's okay, like live and be in that softness and then kind of find your I love that. That's important. All right, so being in rooms with superstars like Alicia Keys and her, how do you stay grounded in your own worth and not shrink in spaces where you're still growing?
I would say that it's very important to know your value as a human being and what you bring to the space. A lot of times when I'm in a space...
Sorry, I think they need to hear that again.
Wait, I don't even know what I said. It's very important to know your value and know who you are as a human being in every space. I would say that, and being in spaces with them it's a beautiful experience. And also, I would say from me being an experience, okay, hold on, let me start over.
Yeah, go ahead.
From me being in spaces with artists such as Alicia Keys and her and different artists that are great, you notice that they are really good at preserving their energy, knowing when they have a certain capacity for things, knowing who they want to be around and knowing their limits. And you're able to see that and be like, okay, they've been here before. They have lived in this space in creating, and they have been in this space of knowing what their capabilities are in the moment. And so you learn from that, and also you realize that when you're in these places, all you can do is be yourself. And I've learned that my personality and being soft and welcoming and warm, it's usually me just being is enough.
It is enough.
Me just being is enough. And me just being like, present, I would say. Me being present and me being like, okay, how can I contribute to this? And being in the studio with her, I was just had my violin and I was like, okay, how can I contribute to this? And just giving ideas. She's like, yes, and being able to just allow the room to just be. I would just say allowing the room to just be, and not wanting to think like, oh, I have to insert myself here, or I have to say this, I have to say that. It's like, no, you just be. And if and a conversation sparks, you just let the conversation happen. Right. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's okay. It's just knowing your value, and knowing that your presence is just as valuable as their presence being in there. And knowing that these people want you here because they see the value in you, and seeing the value in your energy, seeing the value in your talent. Yeah. And that's it. I would say that it's always been that way with both of them. Good. And I'm grateful. So grateful for that. Yeah.
Because people have to remember, like, obviously if you're in those rooms, you were called to be in that room for a reason. Yes. God placed you in that room for a reason. And you don't and shouldn't feel the need to shrink just because these other people have accolades, but so do you, So one person is not better or bigger all because they have those type of achievements. But I think it's important to remind yourself, like, being you is what makes,
Yes. And also when I was in one of the rehearsals with her, for us playing for one of the award shows she was doing, it was funny because in rehearsal she was like, she stopped because I had shared my song with her in one of the rehearsals, and I just was like, hey, check out my, and she was like, oh yes, I will add it right now. I listened to it. The next rehearsal, we all were all ready to go, and she stopped and she turned around and said, Sherie, I really like your song. I listened to it in my car over and over, and I really love it. And I was like, and everybody looked at me like, and she was like, I really love it. Thank you. And I was like, wow, so
you took the time out.
You took the time out, and so people really care to listen. They really care to, like, learn who they're around.
Exactly.
And and same thing with Alicia. She has shared my music videos. She has,
that's love.
Told people about me. She has, like, literally just embraced, me as a little sister. So
I love that. Love to hear that sisterhood. Yes. Okay, so what does mastery mean to you now? Not in terms of perfection, but in terms of ownership over your craft and your own story.
I would say that mastery means becoming your best self, and not even in a cliche way, but like knowing that every day you're just striving to be better. Yeah. Meaning better than the you that was yesterday. Mentally, physically, and also musically, art, whatever your art form is. Yeah. Just being able creatively, yes, and learning something new every day about that. Whether if it's reading a book, whether if it's jogging, whether if it's studying about one of your favorite artists and how they made that song that you are just drawn to, you are then better than yourself yesterday. Yes. And I think mastery is just focusing each day on becoming better than you were yesterday, even if it's taking an hour out of your time or 2 hours out of your time to, like, learn something new, or to be more healthy, or be more mentally sound, or whatever it is, to like become better than you were yesterday. I think that's always been my mantra of just my mantra in the road to becoming a master, or in mastery. I think it's an important thing to just think about, okay, cool, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? How can I be better today? Right. How can I, my body's sore, but I know I'm stronger,
Right, exactly. Pushing the limits.
Yes, yeah. It's like, I know my fingers are tired, but I am better at my skills. I'm better, I have more confidence in my performance than I did the last performance. Exactly. And I feel like every performance gets stronger the more and more I practice. Even if I don't want to ever sit down and be like, oh, I got it. And I'm like, no. I want to be like, nope, I'm practicing. I'm running the treadmill and singing. Yeah. I'm practicing skills. I'm learning new things I can play on stage. And it gets exciting because you're on stage and like, oh, I'm about to play this new thing, this new lick I learned just the other day. Or I'm going to sing this new inflection, this new run that I kind of got down from my inner time, my solo time of just building my inner man. And
yes.
creative self.
Becoming the best version of yourself each day.
I think that's what mastery means to me. Becoming the best version of yourself.
And not just the craft, like obviously when you get on stage you have to be mentally right, so whether that's like meditation or whatever thing you do in order to get into that space. But what do you do to get into that space?
Well, I would say that recently I've been doing these morning pages from this book called The Artist's Way, and it's like you write morning pages every day, 3 pages, and what it does is it helps you connect to yourself so you can connect to others. So you can connect with others, because when you are more connected to yourself, that's where your greatest music comes, or your greatest art or greatest expression comes from. Your inner self wanting to express itself creatively, because we are all creative, no matter what we do. You know, you're incredible at what you do. Everybody, and that's why we're here today. So I think that there are ways to wake up in the morning. For me, I wake up in the morning and I'm writing my pages, and I read my word, the Bible. I read. I am just very intentional about growing in wisdom, and I just allow all that logical brain to come out, like, okay, what I have to do, everything, just like, and then from there, my inner child and creativity comes out to where now I'm observing and I'm seeing how where songs can spark off or where inspiration can come, and I think that's a beautiful way to really bring that about, to bring that out. So
it's so exciting. It's like, wow.
Thanks.
Okay, so you've blended genres, instruments, and roles. So what's the most challenging part of living in between, and what's the most liberating?
When you say in between, what do you mean as far as
so you've blended genres, instruments, roles, your voice. So the challenging part of living in between, let's say playing the violin, but also singing, or also being an entertainer or performer, like living in between, I guess, all of those 3 or more roles.
I would say, so I would say that for me, I have always have had different things going on, like, just from songwriting. I'm with Warner Chappell as a publisher, songwriting, and then I play behind a bunch of artists and for different award shows, and then I'm an artist as well.
Right.
And one of my mentors told me every season is about reintroducing yourself, right? So if there's a season where you are really more focused on your artistry, you would say, I'm an artist that sings and plays violin. Or if you're more in a place in your life where you're, just not performing as much, or you're not, releasing music right now, it's like, okay, well, I'm a songwriter, songwriter that plays violin, also has music out. Like, it's good advice. It's a way that you have to introduce yourself in a way that people are putting respect on the part that you are highlighting.
Right.
And I think that when you live in between, or when you're multifaceted, you have to learn how to introduce yourself. Yeah. Because a lot of times people will be like, oh wait, that have met me from playing violin with her, or playing with Alicia Keys, or playing with whoever. They're like, oh, you're a singer too, right? or somebody,
so many hats.
Or feel like, oh yeah, you wrote this song or you wrote that song, and and they're like, oh wait, you also have your own music out, or you're also a violinist. That's dope. So a lot of times I'm getting different things from different people just because of the different spaces I'm in. But I just learned that when you're in that space, you just have to reintroduce yourself. Like, hey guys, I'm Sherie. I'm an artist, and I also wrote that song. I also did this, but this is my music. Check it out, and people finding out what you've done after they listen to your music, And before I put out a project, or before I put out music, that was different, right? It was different, because if you say I'm an artist first, like, where's your music? Right. So I was like,
what do you have to show?
Where's your music? So a lot of times, in the past, I would just be like, yeah, I'm a songwriter, and that, but I also have music coming out. And be like, okay, cool. They can see what I've written and the different songs that I've done, or they'll be like, oh, okay, oh yeah, if I'm like, oh, I'm a violinist that, that also sings, so it's really just knowing how to reintroduce yourself and learning how to just highlight where you're at in your life. You know, so yeah,
that's a really key. Yeah, I love that advice. I'm definitely going to use that because I too find myself, people are always looking up like, oh, you're doing something new, or oh, I didn't know you did that. And I'm just like, I don't like, it's a great thing that I was introduced to so much when I was younger and become multifaceted, but it's often like I'm doing so much, like what do I really say first, or what do I focus on now that I'm in, you know, this certain season. So that's really good.
Thanks.
I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah,
of course,
for sure.
Yeah.
So what boundaries have you had to set in the music industry to protect your peace and your purpose?
Yeah, these are great questions, by the way. She is killing it right now. Thank you. What boundaries have I had to set?
Mm-hmm. It's probably been a lot, but just whatever you're willing to share. Yeah,
I would say that a lot of times people, because I came out here when I moved to LA here from Georgia, a lot of my gigs, a lot of things I was doing was playing violin for artists, playing violin for studio sessions, playing violin for this and that and this song, that song.
Hustling.
Now, yes, I mean, a lot of times when you hear certain songs, like, oh, you would not even know I played on Kehlani's records. You wouldn't know that I played on Lucky Days or these, you know, it's just so many records. Like, there's so many that I can't even think of. That
the catalog is long.
When you hear the violin, you're like, oh, that's Sherie, because I was doing that so much.
Wow.
And so I would say that when I moved into my artistry hat, I had to say no to a lot of these sessions because a lot of times people were putting my value on me playing violin and knowing that I was a great violinist, but I was taking a lot of time doing that and not focusing on what I had to release as an artist. So I had to be like, okay, I did it. I played on a lot of records. I did that, but I'm not just a violinist. I can't continue to just
be boxed in.
And not only be boxed in, but be on other people's deadlines. Like, like the producer would be like, okay, I gotta release this project for Victoria Monet. I gotta release this project for Ariana. I gotta release this project for this. So hurry up, send these strings in, send these strings. And I'm like, I'm working on other people's time that needs to finish a project. And I was like, no.
And sometimes you just have to say it like that, like,
no, I'm going to focus on my music as an artist. Like, for instance, like Lizzo, she plays the flute and she's incredible at the flute. But our producer's asking Lizzo, hey, can you play flute on my, or right now, like, can you play flute on my other artist's record? You know, they might want to collab with her on something where she's being Lizzo and playing flute, but it's different to, like, you know, to have, or even her, or Alicia Keys, who plays these instruments. Like, producers, they've gotten to that place in their life where producers are gonna want to collab with them as an artist, more so than have them put their piano or hers guitar on another artist's record. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's just a difference when you're like, okay, this is where I'm wanting to go as an artist. So now I have to set boundaries on who I'm, you know, arranging for, or you know what I'm, you know. But if it's Beyonce or or
Rihanna, the right name,
or Rihanna, or any, you know, if they're like, hey, I need you to lay these, I will be there, queen. I will be there. I will be there, and I will play violin for you, whatever you need, you know. But I think when it gets to, like,
Beyonce bowl.
That was so fun.
Oh my gosh, you did amazing.
Yeah, she's great. She's amazing. It was so cool to see her that up close. I was like, it was crazy. Yeah,
she's gorgeous.
Yes, and so I just go back to knowing when to say no, depending on when as you reintroduce yourself, knowing okay what you're focusing on, what you're going to say no to, so you can make space for your artistry. And I would say that. And also with the songwriting and being like, okay, I only want to work with the artists in creating their songs, and being okay with being like, okay, I make my own songs to pitch, but also being like, okay, knowing how much you're going to do that, because I was doing that a lot at first, and I was just like, okay, it's taking up a lot of my time, but now I want to shift my focus right now, just so I can still do it all. You know. So
but it's good that you built up that catalog to be able to say no, because you know, some people will be like, oh, I know my worth, or I know who I've worked with, and then say no to everything. That's just like, I don't know if you have the ability to say that, and you want to put your efforts toward this. Yes, exactly. Maybe you should say yes a little bit to get the connections more.
Thank you. And I would say that's me too. Like there are still things I choose to say yes to, even if it's developing artists. If I'm in love with their music, I'm like, I'm down. Like I'm down. Like I'm always down to assess. Like, okay, how does the situation look, or you know how I'm connected to that artist, or how much I really, really love what they're doing, how much I want to be a part of things. So I always love giving back. I always love, that's why I still make time to teach sometimes and to give back, because it's important when you know you're investing something to help someone else. And that's what this life is about too. It's not always about serving yourself, it's about helping others.
It's bigger than us, right?
It's bigger than us. So absolutely. Love it. Absolutely.
Know when to say no.
Know when to say no. Say no. Yes.
So how do you reconnect with Sherie, the woman, when Sherie, the performer, is being pulled in so many directions?
When you say Sherie, the performer, when you say directions, what do you mean? When you say...
So you can be called to do this. You can be called to maybe be in a certain place for family, or like you're married as well, tending to your partner. Maybe called to also give back to those kids. How do you reconnect with Sherie, the woman, as in personally, the becoming of her, versus Sherie, the performer, and who's belting everything out or playing her violin, all of that?
Yeah, so I would say that when you understand that yourself as a human is very important, you're able to separate the two things, and knowing that one is one part of yourself is your human, you know, just yourself that exists, that is who we are, character on this earth, like, you know, and you're able to understand that, like, that person is very important just as much as your artistry is important. And I would say that I'm gonna say something on here that you got. My real name is Angelina.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So my first name is Angelina. My middle name is Sherie.
Got it.
So when I moved to LA from Atlanta, everybody from my hometown knows me as Angie or Angelina. And when I moved to LA, I was like, I want to just be Sherie, because Sherie is my middle name. It means love. It's that warm and welcome thing, like, you know, that dearest, you know, endearing term that is just that exemplifies love, and that's what I wanted my music to be about. So I always say that Sherie is just something that's birthed through Angelina. You know, Sherie is an artist that is, or a character that comes from Angelina. It is like Angelina's experiences that's coming out through Sherie, that's being expressed creatively through Sherie. You know, and Sherie doesn't live without Angelina. You know, Sherie doesn't live without Angelina. Sherie does not exist without Angelina's foundation, her you know, family, God, love, all those things. It doesn't exist without, you know, it doesn't. It just doesn't exist. Sherie doesn't exist without Angelina. So I've learned so much that it's important to reconnect with Angelina. Yes. So that Sherie can Sherie can live. Yeah. You know, and so, you know, and answering your question on how, there is, you know, I am constantly pouring into myself, you know, spending time with my family. I do have a husband. I've been married almost 4 years now. Yes. I'm just able to just take a second and go into nature and just connect with, and be around my family, be around just things that help me
center you.
To center me. And I think that these are very important when it comes to just being able to release creatively, because without observing, without pouring into yourself, it's hard to pour out.
It is.
So I would say, I think that it's important to take a second, put your phone on D&D.
That's important.
Go on a vacation. Yes. Know, just observe
a little,
travel, and even if it's a thing of just going out, hanging out with friends, taking a moment to to just immerse yourself in different kinds of music that you never heard before, and then being able to use that and collect the data, collect the data research in your Angelina database, and then you're just able to allow Sherie to express that now in her funky self.
Right.
You know? So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
I like to do those things, be in nature and hang out with friends. I think they really remind us of who we are, like at the core, and then that helps us allows us to express, through creatively through, like you said, Sherie.
And alone time, just because us as humans, we want to have that pioneering part of us that want to birth something that's special, that only we can birth. There's something that only you can bring to this world that nobody else can. And I believe that in every one of us there's something that we all can birth, that the world is waiting for. And sometimes it takes the growing process, the birthing process. It takes all of that to be able to really get it out. And so so I think it depends on the person and what their personal journey, what we feel that we need to birth something beautiful out.
I love it.
And vitamins, vitamin D,
the supplements, all of it, magnesium, the zinc, right, running
whatever that little collection is for you.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna need to re-up on mine, but yeah. Okay, so my final question. So when a young Black girl sees you on the stage with a violin, or hears your name in a songwriting credit, or hears your voice, what do you hope she believes about what's possible?
This is a great question. I would say that I believe that when a young girl sees me, a young Black girl too, because that's Black girl magic, I would say that I would want them to feel like anything is possible. I'd want them to feel like it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail, because when you fail, you're only failing forward. You're only pressing forwards toward the mark of where you're being called to. And I feel like I would just want them to be inspired and hopeful that they can learn from whatever mistakes, and they can that I've made. They can learn from whatever mistakes that that they have been through themselves, and be like, oh, that's okay. Right. That can be used for greatness. That's
your testimony.
That can be used for greatness. That can be something that can be turned around to be a superpower. And I think that it's beautiful. I think that they can really learn to just get up. They can learn to stand up. They can learn that everything that they might go through, whether even if it's something that they feel like they have ADHD or a lack of focus or scatterbrain, or that they can use that in their creative expression. They can be like, they can't be like, oh yeah, I'm not. I mean, I don't want them to be like, oh, this is something that's gonna bring me down. I want them to be like, this is something that's gonna bring me up.
It is.
And it's gonna be a tool and a vessel to express myself. So I think that's a beautiful thing, that they can believe that's possible.
Yes. And I'm sure they'll definitely see that when watching you. So for sure. So any new projects we need to know about, or you want to share?
I would say that I would love for you to watch my new music video called Truth Is. It is out on Vivo, YouTube, Apple Music, Tidal, all the things. And it's a beautiful music video. It's a really strong message. And I would also say that there are, Yours Deeply is still out. It's still fairly new, so check Yours Deeply out. And I'm creating more music always. I have more music coming out very soon. And I have some shows, right? And I have some shows coming up. I have some, I'll be doing a tour soon. I'll be doing some things. So just check out my I would say my Instagram, and also YouTube, and just my website, all the things that's gonna show where my shows are gonna be. So
yes, keep up, because there's lots, I'm sure, on deck for you. Okay, so just as a closer, so 3 pieces of advice that you could give to anyone listening who's grinding, they're building, maybe they're trying to make their dreams happen, maybe they're looking to you as maybe some inspiration. what could you share?
I would share, the first thing I would share is learn how to, there are two ways of saying no. If you are saying no more to people, like saying the word no more to people or places or things that you feel like don't serve you in the moment, it's okay. It's okay. You should give yourself the permission to say no, even if it displeases others, and being able to say more of the yes to yourself and not disregarding yourself on behalf of others or on behalf of other things. And I would say being able to say no more, the two words of no more to yourself, or which is no more shrinking yourself, no more feeling insecure, no more allowing yourself to crumble under pressure, or no more allowing yourself to feel like you're not enough, or just being able to just list out the things that you don't want anymore and saying no more, like whatever it is, being like no more, no more, no more, no more, no more. Saying no to this person, no to this, no to this invitation, no to this guy, no to this. Say it. No to this, and you don't have to make excuses for yourself anymore, like, and being able to just do what you feel like is best for you, and not being afraid to disappoint on behalf of making yourself happy. And I would say the last thing is to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in everything that you are. Believe in everything that you are doing. Believe in everything that you want to do. And I would say that nothing is impossible if you just take the steps and you just research and you just say, okay, how can I do this? Or how can I input myself into this situation? And how do I see value in this? And I would just say that believe in yourself more. Believe in yourself more, and know that you can do anything that you put your mind to. You can do anything that you just sit down and say, okay, this is my plan. Yes. And things are gonna manifest from there. They'll just manifest. I'm telling you, it's happened for me. Like, I didn't even go into how this stuff happened for me. But I looked up and I was like, what? How did I get here? How did I get there? How did this even happen? How did I meet this person? How are my videos paid for? How am I doing this? How am I doing that? How am I
believing you could?
Believing in, but
doing the work. People seeing that value within you and believing in you as well. Yeah. So yeah, I love it. Okay, where can people follow you, keep up with you, share your IGs, Facebook's website?
I would say you can follow me on Instagram as I'm Sherie, IMSHERIE. You can follow me on YouTube as Sherie. Follow me on all the different DSPs. My music is under Sherie. And I am so happy you have me here.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming. I'm honored that you were able to make some time out of your schedule. So I really appreciate you sharing those keys and gems. So I think it's really important to see someone like you, of course, where you've come from and to where you are now. As a woman and as a performer. So
yes, thank you.
Of course. So thank you so much for tuning in to I Am Woman. This has been a fruitful, I believe, episode for hopefully me. It has been for me, but hopefully for you as well. And I hope you were able to kind of draw some inspiration, some advice that you're able to use within your own life. And then also, if you are an artist or singer, songwriter, musician, in that aspect in your craft as well. So tune into the next episode. But until then, stay beautiful, stay blessed. Bye-bye.